2021 has finally ended, and overall, it was actually a pretty good year for anime. 2022 is looking like it's going to be an amazing year for anime, and I look forward to making some videos on some of the things that are going to be coming out and some of the things I end up watching. But for now, I wanted to look back on all the anime that I watched in 2021 and throw them in a tier list. In the end, I ended up at least starting about 55 anime in 2021. I didn't watch all 55. Some of them were just so bad that they were unwatchable in my eyes. But there were also some anime that were not only, anime of the year contenders, but these are anime that pushed their way into my top 10 by the time I was done watching them. I also put One Piece and Black Clover on this list because they were both airing in 2021. I mean, neither one of them is really a 2021 anime, but I just put them here. They are banned from the anime of the year level category because, they didn't come out in 2021. But with all that said, I just want to jump right into the tier list. And the first one is 2.43 high school volleyball something something. Honestly, I love Haikyuu. Haikyuu literally got me so into volleyball that I played some intramural volleyball when I started college. Like, Haikyuu is the wave. But this one was really bad. I thought, okay, it's a little different than Haikyuu, but honestly, like, the volleyball scenes weren't that great. And then there was a lot of drama, like, off the court, I guess you could say, between the characters. And so it was watchable, but it was pretty bad in my eyes. Next is 86. Now, if you go back to like one of my prior videos, back when 86 was about to come out, I said that 86 was going to be mediocre, predictable, not very good at all. When I watched that show, my goodness, I could not have been more wrong. 86 is so good. Like, the story is amazing. I ended up like telling my friends, you got to go watch this. I rewatched it. I even rewatched it with my dad. We watched it in dub and he was like, this is amazing. This is one of the craziest stories like ever. I think the 86 is something special. Both parts 1 and 2 came out in 2021 and they were both so good. Still waiting on the last 2 episodes of part 2 since they got delayed, and I am so excited to watch more 86. It's to the point where I'm like itching to read the story. Honestly, it's that good. So I personally think that it's anime of the year level. It was that good of an anime. Next is AOT, and I mean, it's AOT. It definitely belongs in anime of the year level. Season 4 part 1 was so good. It was intense. The story shifted in a direction that I never could have predicted. It was so good that I ended up going and reading the manga. No spoilers, obviously, but there's definitely even more crazy things to come here in 2022. AOT starts in 2 days from when I'm making this video, so I'm super, super excited for that. Then there's Aquatope in the White Sand, or Of the White Sand. I don't remember the exact title. I dropped it. I was on vacation when I started this one, and I already had like 6 episodes out. So I watched like 3 or 4 of them, and it wasn't that bad, but it just, I don't know, it wasn't hitting. Like, I feel like when you watch more and more anime, you kind of reach the point where you're like, all right, I'll watch this if it has something that appeals to me, something unique, something like special, whatever. And I wasn't really feeling that from this anime, so I just ended up dropping it. Then there's Black Clover. So like I said, Black Clover is banned from the anime of the year level, but I gotta say, everything Black Clover was doing in 2021 was fire. Like, some of the best Black Clover content came out in 2021. I'm super excited for the movie whenever it comes out. The series finale was amazing. Everything leading up to it was amazing. Like, in my memory, there was only like 2, maybe 3 iffy episodes, and even the iffy episodes is like they were, rather than being anime of the year level, they were like elite. It was so good. If you haven't started Black Clover, or you heard all the complaints when Black Clover came out, the animation's bad, the pacing, whatever, it gets so good. Like, just stick with it. Next is Combatants Will Be Dispatched, which is by the author of Konosuba, if I remember correctly. I'd say it was mid. Like, it's a comedy, but I like Konosuba more. It has a couple of really good jokes. Like, there's some funny things going on. But overall, like, I don't think, I didn't even watch all the episodes because it kind of ended up boring me a little bit, but it's a comedy, and if you like comedy, it's there. But if you like comedy, there's way better stuff out there. Then there's the Demon Slayer movie. And, you know, this might be a controversial pick, but I don't really care. Mid. I saw this movie with like me and maybe like 6 other friends, and we all left the theater and we kind of just looked at each other like, yeah, that movie was not it. Like, the movie was so mid. And, you know, obviously you think that like mid means average, but at this point mid comes with a negative connotation. So I would say that like mid is like, it's right above bad, but it's not good. This movie was definitely a disappointment. It shifted my view on Demon Slayer a lot. Like, I started calling it like D-Mid Slayer. And, you know, a lot of people like hate on Demon Slayer because it's so popular. I don't care about the popularity of a series. I care about what the series is doing. And Demon Slayer has kind of reached a point where it's just kind of, it's mid. That's kind of the best way to say it. And that movie did not hit. It felt like the pacing of the movie was a little weird. I mean, I get it. It's like one arc in a movie, but overall, like, I kind of felt like the movie was over really, really quickly. And then they just tossed in like a really cool fight scene that stretched out the runtime of the movie. So overall, very, very mid, very, very mid tier movie. Then there's The Detective Is Already Dead. Everywhere I looked on the internet, you know, like Instagram, anime accounts, Reddit, whatever, like people were hyping up this anime. And it was really bad. Now, I have heard that the adaptation is the problem. Like, the story itself is actually really good or whatever. But actually, I'm putting it dropped. Like, this was so bad in my eyes. Like, the plot seemed really stupid, and maybe that comes down to the adaptation, because there were definitely elements where I was pretty interested, but the things that were interesting weren't enough to outweigh the plot points that I thought were really dumb. And the fact that, you know, the detective is already dead kind of hurts the show a lot, because the detective seems to be the most interesting character that the show has to offer. You know, maybe it has to do with the way that it was adapted and there's more interesting things in the story, the source material, but overall, I think The Detective Is Already Dead fell very, very flat. Then there's Dr. Stone season 2. Dr. Stone season 2 was good. I enjoyed it, but there wasn't anything that really had me thinking like, oh, this was great, elite, immaculate, like, but it wasn't mid. It was just good, you know, and there's nothing wrong with an anime being just good. Then there's Drugstore in Another World. The title's really long, whatever. It was bad. I mean, I could barely finish episode 1. You know, I really like isekai. I'm one of those people who thinks isekai is like a great genre, but Lord have mercy, like, eventually there has to be a point where we stop making just, all right, we took X person, tossed them in Another World, and slapped the title on it. And that's what this one felt like. Super, super bad. Fruits Basket season 3. My goodness, anime of the year level. I could sing Fruits Basket's praises forever. Like, oh my goodness. When Fruits Basket season 3 came out, I kind of waited to watch it. I was watching all the other things that were out that season, whatever. And then I went back and I started to catch up, and you know, I had been kind of like keeping like a mental ranking of the shows that were out at the time, and Fruits Basket wasn't even on the list, whatever. You know, I have my number 1 and my number 2, didn't think they would be dethroned. Fruits Basket should have been number 1 from week 1 all the way until that show ended. This was one of the greatest final seasons, one of the greatest seasons, one of the greatest endings, conclusions, whatever, that I've ever seen in anime. Like, I loved Fruits Basket season 3. It was so, so, so good. Like, oh my gosh. Anyway, next is Full Dive. This isekai is bad, whatever. Like, the title is like 300 words, but basically it's like Full Dive RPG, whatever. Absolute garbage. Like, oh my goodness, horrible. You know, it has the kind of, I'm not even gonna say trapped, but you know, in a video game type isekai vibe, like an SAO or whatever, but it was just bad. Just, the characters were uninteresting. The story was flat. Nothing original about the story whatsoever. Really, really bad. Then there's Girlfriend, bad but watchable. Now, this one stays right above garbage because it was kind of funny, but this one was really bad. Like, oh my goodness. You know, you've got this one guy, he's got a girlfriend, life's going good, and then another girl confesses to him, and she's like, oh, you know, I really like you, and he's like, oh, I got a girlfriend, but you're kind of cute, so let's go ask my girlfriend if I could date you too. Yeah, so, you know, if you're hearing that and you're thinking, well, that sounds really stupid, that's basically like the plot of the show. And, you know, it's funny. There was a really funny scene in like episode 3 or 4, but overall, it's not it. One Piece would be in the anime of the year level, but we'll put it in elite. 2021 One Piece, Wano was on fire. Obviously One Piece is really good. You know, people love their One Piece, but at the same time, like, it's One Piece. I gotta say, I started watching One Piece monthly rather than weekly because pacing is definitely not the best, but that's because it's One Piece. But the story, my goodness, the story and the animation and the action, they were stepped up to a higher level in 2021. There were some moments where I was just like, my goodness, I cannot believe that One Piece is doing this. So it's still worthy of elite. Then there was the hidden dungeon only I can enter. It was good. It was upper mid. It's funny. It has some crazy like scenes in it, whatever. There's nothing that special about it, but overall, I enjoyed it. It was solid. Then there was Higehiro, which I think Higehiro was actually a really good story. Like, it's one season. Was it great? I'm gonna put it in great for now. It was wholesome. It was interesting. Every week I was looking forward to seeing the next episode to see where things would go. You know, I really enjoyed it, and it was just really, you know, I didn't expect it to be that good, is what I'll say. Then there's Higurashi season 4, I think. Higurashi Sotsu. It was pretty, you know, it was good until the finale, so I'll leave it in good, but the finale fell really, really flat. Like, it could have been way better. Higurashi started to make some very, like, weird choices, I'd say, in comparison to its prior seasons, but it was good. Horimiya. Okay, so Horimiya was one of the bigger name anime that dropped in 2021, and, you know, people were really excited. This is going to be one of the best, like, rom-com stories, whatever. I think it was just good. I think it could have been great, but it was insanely rushed. Like, the first few episodes, I was like, okay, you know, I could see the potential. I see why people were hyping this up. And the next thing you know, I couldn't understand why we were going so fast. Like, they were just moving way too quickly. And so it makes, like, the romantic element kind of fall short of the potential that it had because it was so rushed. And, like, I even told my friend, I was like, yeah, you can go watch it, but, like, just know it's kind of rushed. And, like, he went and watched it, and he was like, yeah, like, this could have been top tier, but they just went too fast. So, you know, could have been elite. Probably not anime of the year level, but it could have been elite, but it went way too fast and it ruined the story. Then there is I've been killing slimes for 300 years and maxed out my level dropped. It's an isekai. It's like one of those, you know, it's like a slice of life isekai. Very plain, nothing too crazy. I didn't really enjoy it at all. Then there was Burning Kabaddi. It's like, how do you describe that? An anime about a really overcomplicated version of tag that's played competitively. Yeah, that would be the way to describe it. And that would sound interesting, but it's not that interesting at all. Then there was the Kaguya OVA. That was one heck of an OVA. Definitely worthy of elite. I mean, it's just an OVA. Season 3 comes out in 2022. That's gonna be, I think that'll be anime of the year level. But, you know, it was a really, really good OVA if you like fan service style episodes and just comedy, because it was hilarious, like absolutely hilarious. Then there's Komoni Jihen, bad but watchable. I personally dropped it, but one of my friends said, actually, this is pretty good. You know, you should give it a try. I went back, took a look at it. I still can't get myself to watch it, but it is watchable. It just doesn't appeal. Kobayashi season 2 was elite. I don't think it was like anime of the year level or anything, but that was a really underrated, very high quality animation, amazing story, really good season of anime, top tier. Then you've got Komi Can't Communicate, anime of the year level. Komi Can't Communicate was another one of those ones that was really hyped up. So I was a little worried because, you know, a lot of these other things I've mentioned that were hyped up, they ended up falling really short, you know, Demon Slayer movie, Horimiya, these kind of things. So eventually I kind of started not paying attention to the hype trains as much. But Komi Can't Communicate definitely came through. That was such a good anime. I've got nothing but praises for Komi. Then there was Log Horizon season 3, and this one probably was disappointment of the year for me, because like I said, I really like isekai. I had been looking for more isekai. I saw the Log Horizon season 3 was coming out, so I went and watched seasons 1 and 2. Those were really high quality. I think Log Horizon is a very underrated isekai. And then season 3 came out and it was absolutely trash. Like, why? I don't know what they were doing, why they were doing it. Maybe it's because they waited so long to drop the 3rd season, but it was like all the energy, the passion, whatever that was in that anime was gone. And it was really sad to see. So definitely putting it in this absolute bottom tier. Moriarty the Patriot was really underrated. It was really good if you like the whole, you know, Sherlock Moriarty storyline, but now it's in anime form. So, you know, a little bit of bias for me because I do like the whole Sherlock, you know, story, everything. So I definitely put it in great. It was really, really good. The ending, see, I would have put it in elite, but the ending felt a little rushed. Like I was like, I feel like this could have gone on a little bit longer. Like not a whole nother season, but maybe like 4 more episodes and everything would have been fine. Mushoku Tensei, I mean, type in Mushoku Tensei on YouTube and you'll understand why it's anime of the year level. There are so many videos praising this anime. They describe like exactly why this is elite. It's a story about second chances. It has some really weird elements in it, don't get me wrong, but what a good anime. What a top tier isekai. And then we have something else that was disappointing. My Hero season 5. Now, the last like third of My Hero season 5, that would go like up here, maybe like elite or really, really great. But overall, My Hero season 5 was disappointing. Like My Hero has just been tumbling further and further down my like anime rankings. And it's kind of sad to see, but at the same time, it is what it is. Now, the movie was a little better than season 5. It was good. It wasn't great. I think the other 2 movies, the other 2 movies were better, but it was a solid movie. There's nothing to complain about. So you throw it in good where it belongs. Don't Toy With Me Nagatoro. You know, I tried so hard to dislike this anime because I thought it was kind of like an annoying concept, whatever. But it was actually like, I gotta admit, it was pretty great. Every week when Nagatoro came on, I definitely tuned in. It wasn't one of those ones where I was like, I'll get around it. I was like, all right, new Nagatoro, let's go. And like the whole friend group was watching it. It was an enjoyable anime, I have to admit. Then there's the one I couldn't convince the friend group to watch, but I think was anime of the year level, Odd Taxi. My goodness, Odd Taxi was such a like unique anime, I feel like. Like, sure, it's the whole like, you know, the characters are animals, whatever, kind of like Beastars, Zootopia, whatever. But the story, my goodness, like there's like mystery and there's so many questions you have at the beginning of the show and even by the end of the show. I think that Odd Taxi, like way more people should have watched it, should go watch it. It was so good. Definitely worthy of an anime of the year contender because even I slept on it and waited a good 6 weeks before I started it. And when I did, it was just like Fruits Basket. Like I launched it all the way as high up as it could go because it's really good. And then speaking of really good, you've got the rom-com where the childhood friend won't lose. All right, let me stop. Garbage. I thought it was cool because the title is like the rom-com where the childhood friend won't lose. And then they were just like, what if all the girls were the childhood friend? And that really kind of irritated me to the point that I just dropped it because it was just dumb. So yeah, that was an L. But if you want a good rom-com, quintessential quintuplets. Season 2 was just as good as season 1. All the quintuplets got some nice character development that, you know, really flipped up the rankings on who's best girl in my eyes. You know, supremacy. You know, I'm pretty excited for the movie. It's gonna be pretty good. I already know who wins. I'm not gonna spoil it or anything, but despite already knowing who wins before I even started season 2, I really enjoyed watching season 2 anyway. So that is why I put it in elite. The fact that even with the ending spoiled, I was still getting enjoyment on a weekly basis, I think that's what it takes to, like, you know, keep you in the elite tier. Then there was Remain. Honestly, I only watched it because it was done by Mappa, but it wasn't that interesting. Like, I've been seeking out other sports anime that I would like because of Haikyuu. I read Blue Lock, that was fire. Look forward to that in 2022. But Remain, nothing special in my eyes. ReZero season 2, it came out earlier in 2021, and at the time I would have been like, okay, anime of the year level. But then, like, a lot of these other things came out and they were just better than ReZero season 2, so I'll put it in elite. I mean, it was really, really good. It's just that when you compare it to all of these other things in the top tier, ReZero just kind of is sitting there and you're like, are you sure it belongs there? So, you know, that's not a slight. I still really enjoyed season 2. It's just not all the way at the top. Then there's How a Realist Hero Rebuilt the Kingdom. I thought this was going to be another isekai where it was like, all right, isekai dropped. But no, I actually really enjoyed this. And I, like, honestly, it really appealed to my taste in stories, I guess. Like, it focuses on, like, the politics and the rebuilding a kingdom. And I've always been, like, a history nerd. So if you are more of, like, the I want action and fighting and stuff, like, this is not the anime for you. But if you like the more, like, I don't want to call them intricate, but, you know, world building elements of these stories, kind of like if you like Slime, the half where he's building the nation, like that part of Slime, then you'll probably enjoy How a Realist Hero Rebuilt the Kingdom. I enjoyed it so much that I went and read a lot of the light novels, and the story actually is really, really good. Then there's Remake Our Life. It was mid. It's like, it reminds me of Re-Life, but just, it was less enjoyable to me. I did like that it was like, let's go back 10 years, but like now he's in college. Because, you know, a lot of these things, it's like you got a grown man going back to their high school years, and it's a little questionable, you know? But now you had a grown man going back to college, which is still like, it's time travel. But at the same time, it's a little more palpable, I guess. Saga of Time of the Evil dropped a random OVA out of thin air in 2021, and it was great. It was just like a funny episode that reminded people that Saga of Time of the Evil exists, and, you know, season 2 is finally going to be coming at some point. So yeah, The Saint's Magic Powers Omnipotent was very, very mid. Actually, it was bad but watchable. No, it was mid. It was the best of the bad but watchables. There we go. Shadow's House was good. It had the best ending, or ED, of the season, though. I could say that. Then there was Shaman King. Dropped it. Was not the wave whatsoever. Skate the Infinity. That was underrated. I think more people should have been talking about Skate the Infinity. Like, it had a very lovable cast. The skating scenes are really cool. Like, I have no interest whatsoever in skateboarding, but when I was watching, I was like, hey, that's actually pretty neat. So overall, really great anime. And I feel like when you come out of nowhere and people don't really like know what you're doing, and next thing you know, like, people are like talking about it, they're like, hey, this skate anime is actually really good, then you've done the right thing. Then there was So I'm a Spider, So What, L. It's crazy because I basically forced myself to finish this anime because I thought a certain thing would happen and then it didn't, and that really, really annoyed me. So I'm a Spider, So What is like the really crappy version of how I got reincarnated as a slime. That's like the best way to describe it, I guess. Sunny Boy was like really, really unique but maybe a little too unique for my tastes. So I'm putting it in mid, but it definitely, it was something special, just a little too special for me, I guess. Then that was how I got reincarnated as a slime, season 2. Part 1 was elite, part 2 was great. I'm gonna leave it in elite, but part 2, some of it felt a little flat to me, but it was really good. Then there was Promised Neverland. For me, Log Horizon was the disappointment of the year, but for most people, Promised Neverland was disappointment of the year. Season 2 was so bad that there are Promised Neverland fans out there that say the anime only has 1 season. That's how you know you took a major L. Like, when people want to literally erase the 2nd season from existence, that shows why it belongs in the bottom tier. Then there was Slime Diaries. I feel like Slime Diaries was literally just like a reminder that slime exists while you wait for season 2 to come out. You know, it was comedic. It was there, but there was nothing like as good in it as is in the original series. Then there's World's Finest Assassin gets reincarnated as an aristocrat. This one was actually pretty solid. So it's by the same author as Redo of Healer, which I did not include in the 2021 list, but it would have been in dropped. But the aristocrat anime, it just had a couple, it's an isekai, but it had a couple of unique elements to it that I found pretty interesting. There were a couple episodes that reminded me that it was by the author of Redo of Healer, and you know, that could have been better, but at least this one actually told a story and focused way more on its story elements than being sick and weird. So I'll put it in good. Actually, it was worse than Hidden Dungeon. I'll put it in upper mid. These are not actually in order, but like this one, it was definitely worse than this one, so that's why I moved it where I moved it. Those Snow White notes made me realize that I just don't like music anime, so this one's not a or garbage, it's just a dropped because it didn't appeal to my tastes. To Your Eternity was amazing, anime of the year level. What a unexpected surprise To Your Eternity was. You know, it was emotional, it was interesting, it was unique, it was such a good anime. Then there was Tokyo Revengers, which I think a lot of people would probably say it was anime of the year level, or it was elite. I'm gonna put it in great. And now here's the thing, right? I watched most of it, but then I read all of it. And when I was reading it, I read it from the beginning. And I feel like the manga is way better than the anime. And I don't normally say that. Like, I read manga sometimes, but I'm mainly an anime guy, right? Like that's just what I enjoy watching more. So when I started reading Tokyo Revengers, I was like, oh, this is fire. And then when I would be watching it, I was like, there's something missing. Like, I don't know if it's the art style or the animation that they went with, but there was just something in the overall anime Tokyo Revengers that was just missing for me, that wasn't missing from the manga. So I think that, like, if whatever's missing that I can't describe had been in the anime, I probably would have given anime of the year level. But there was just, I don't know, something was missing overall. I think that if you thought that Tokyo Revengers had an interesting premise, but the anime wasn't doing it for you, give the manga a shot, and you know, maybe it will actually impress you a lot more like it did impress me. Bottom tier character Tomazaki, I genuinely enjoyed. All right, I'll put it. It was the greatest of the great category. It reminded me a lot of other like rom-coms that I've watched. Like, it felt like a mini Origairu overall, I think, but it was really good. Like, I just really enjoyed this development that the main character was going through, where like this dude was clearly a loser, right? Like, bro didn't care about his like style, he didn't care about interacting with other people, all he really cared about is video games, right? And then he meets a girl who is simultaneously popular and into video games, and she's teaching him how to, like, well, have a life. And I thought it was really good because throughout the story, he actually was kind of opening up more. He was gaining friends, but it wasn't like he instantly changed into this perfect person or anything. It was baby steps, and the characters in the show were really like enjoyable to watch. I liked the cast, so I think it was great. I think a lot of people wrote it off as a very basic, simple rom-com, whatever, but I thought it was really, really good. Then there was Vanitas. All right, here's the thing, right? I just can't watch vampires. Like, I don't know. I thought this would be the one that would kind of break the vampire mold for me, but I'm not interested in vampires. I tried so hard to watch this. I'm telling you, I did. And I heard it was really good, but I'm gonna just put it in bad because it was bad to me. All right. Then there was Beastars season 2, anime of the year level. I can't believe I'm saying that, but Beastars season 2 was so good. It was crazy. I mean, it was a really, really good season of anime, I gotta say. Plus, Yosobi did the opening and the ending, and that's just bonus points. Absolutely. Vivi Floret's I Song was elite. I think that it was such a good anime that came out of thin air. I love time travel. I love those kind of stories. Then you had, now here's the thing, right? I said with Snow White Notes, I don't like music anime. There was singing like every other episode in this anime, but I had no problem with it at all. Heck, I enjoyed some of the singing in this anime. So I don't know. I think if the story's just about music, probably not gonna do it for me. But you know, time travel, sci-fi, robots, AI, fight scenes were beautifully animated. Vivi was like one of the gems of the year. And then last but certainly not least, there is the most disappointing, you know, I've already said most disappointing twice, but this is the true most disappointing anime of the year. Now here's the thing, the other two were disappointing because of the hype that they already had. Wonder Egg Priority had no hype. This was an anime original that everyone was curious about. And when I started it, I was like, oh yeah, they're on to something. This is gonna be something special. And it was, until it wasn't. I think something must have happened at the studio because, you know, there were episodes that were delayed and, you know, like things weren't going well, I feel like, at the studio. That's the theory that I go with. It makes me feel better. But oh my goodness, the first 7, 8, maybe 9 episodes were so good. Like, this was the anime I was telling everyone to watch. I was like, yo, have you seen Wonder Egg Priority? This is something special. This is gonna be anime of the year. People will be like, what are you talking about? AOT exists. No, bro, Wonder Egg Priority exists was my mindset. And then it all fell apart. It was disgraceful. It was disgusting. It was painful. I have never been more disappointed by the conclusion of an anime, to the point that I would, like, if I was making any other tier list and I would say, okay, you know, Wonder Egg started like this, I would never drop something that was that good all the way to the bottom tier, but it was that bad. Like, they just unraveled everything that the story had been building up to in the span of a few episodes. And then they delayed the finale, only for the finale to be one of the worst things I have ever watched as far as anime goes. Like, honestly, this should just be a separate video, but I don't really want to make a rant video about Wonder Egg. People, like, you can look it up. People have already made those videos. I don't have anything new to say. It was just so disappointing. Honestly, Wonder Egg deserves its own category on this tier list, where it's just off the tier list. I want to pretend that it didn't come out in 2021, that it didn't come out at all, because I cannot believe I got so invested in this one anime only for it to just absolutely fold. Anyway, that concludes my rant. As far as which anime I would personally pick for anime of the year, I've been going back and forth on what I think, and personally, I think I gotta give it to Fruits Basket. I think that if all of AOT had dropped in 2021, it probably would be really hard for me to pick anything but AOT. But I think that Fruits Basket was the best anime that dropped in 2021. Season 3 was just so good. Like, as close to perfection as I've seen in an anime. It was so good that Fruits Basket jumped up from not in my top 10 to my number 8 anime. So I mean, that says a lot, you know? So, you know, if you made it this far, thanks for watching the video. I never really planned on becoming like a tier list guy, but I gotta say, making tier lists is really fun. If you enjoyed the video, I'm sure there will be more to come, more videos, more tier lists, anything. So you can like, subscribe, comment. I love comments. You know, if people leave a comment, I'm gonna reply. I love discussing anime, whatever in the comments. Thanks for watching, and peace.